me and Marlo have a lot to talk about. We figured out a way to literally 2 times your damage after you use a grease. So if any of this helps you, subscribe. First off, in terms of major discoveries, me and my Discord, which you should join if you're struggling with anything in the Deep of the Night mode, we found out that applying greases increases your physical damage substantially, and that they stack. So for example, we have a relic that increases the damage after we use a grease, and with the new Deep of the Night relics, which if you don't know, you should watch my last video on what they do, we get a +1 version on the Deep of the Night as well as a +2. So pulling up the spreadsheet so that you guys can clearly see what I'm talking about. No, not this. Although this was artwork that I made recently. You know, I'm learning 3D VFXs. Pulling up the data sheet, if we go to grease, it says it improves physical attack by 17% for the +1 and then 20% for the +2 for 30 seconds after using a grease. You might think that, like, why would you want to tie your damage to a limited resource? You have to understand that greases, one, they're extremely abundant. They have certain relics where you can like start with 2, so already that's a minute of receiving those stacks of damage. But more importantly, this works with literally any grease, quite literally any grease. You can use lightning grease, you can use rock grease, bleed grease, you can even use shield grease with the guardian and you'll still get the buff, which I will talk about later. It says here on the spreadsheet, which I have linked in the description. I repeat, it is in the description. Some people just thought that I didn't have it last time. I guess they just didn't hear me, but it says different level stack. So the +1 stacks with the +2. What they did not mention in the spreadsheet is that this also stacks with the +0. So if we do my calculations here, if we apply every single grease buff and we use a grease, we are multiplying our damage by 1.54 times. We're literally getting a 50% damage increase just for using 1 grease, and we experience that for 30 seconds. You might think that that's a short time, but you also have to keep in mind that a lot of the best damage amps in the game are, it's like they last for an even shorter amount of time. So if we look at taking attacks, improve attack power, right? Taking improves attack power. We see that it's 15% amp after taking a hit for 10 seconds, and this will refresh when you get hit. So you receive a 15% boost only for 10 seconds, and that's incentivizing you to be, you know, aggressive so you can experience it. And not all the time can you really experience the effect of that boost compared to using a grease, which I will show you guys just how the damage looks because it gets really crazy. It's really, like, in my opinion, from my experience, and I'll show gameplay on screen of just how it looks, but in my experience, like, this actually helps a lot in terms of like shoring up your damage if you're playing someone who might not hit as hard as the rest of the cast. Guardian, yes you. So if we look at the damage, 138, level 15, right, two-handing, 142. Using Dragon Wound Grease, this improves your physical damage as well as gives you an anti-dragon property, so you'll just be super effective to damage. Oh no, super effective to dragons. You can imagine, you know, using the ice type in Pokemon. Boom. We go to 214 from 132, and then 220, and this is plus 22 on the side there as well. So we're getting even more damage from this, and we hit for 241. Now, when we didn't have that, and you'll see that we hit for 142. We'll try this again with the flame grease. 240 compared to 142. We literally doubled our damage. It literally got doubled. 244. So for 30 seconds, you're literally like, it's not even a hyper glass cannon mode, but you're literally just doing like so much more damage compared to what you would have normally been doing. Yes, this takes up 3 relic slots, but to be fair, with the Deep of the Night relics, like we still have 3 more slots after to do whatever you want. We'll see. Again, I'm doing 142. Use a sleep grease this time, 219. So with this, so specifically with the ones that provide your weapon an ailment, you won't be like experiencing the extra damage it would give you for that affinity, right? Like if I use the holy one, I would get the plus 21. So you would be doing a little more damage if you were using like the elemental grease. But I mean, still, you can literally use whatever grease you want. In my experience, I like dragon wound grease the most. I'm sorry, I actually am still trying to find like consistent places to find this. So if people in the comments know, please let a brother know. I will be the greatest dragon wound glazer. He evolved from dragons, if you didn't know. They say it's, you know, dinosaurs, but I actually beg to differ. So this is improving your physical damage only. Like this is like a pure physical damage amp. That's why it's plus 22. That's just more physical damage. So that's the main reason why I like this. You'll also see we have plus 5 attack stacks if you look below our stamina. Don't be fooled by that though. We're still only getting plus 3 because we have 3 versions of the relic. The other 2 I believe is just the anti-dragon properties. So you know, it's not like the dragon wound grease is strictly better. That's just what I prefer more because we're doing 240, but that's split. Compared to this, we're doing 240, but this is purely physical damage. Why is this like really great? Well, for one, I mean, you can literally slap this on any character, even Recluse. I'm sorry to the 8 Recluse fans, including Ace. I'm sorry. I said last time in the initial standard attack video that this works with every character, and while it does, technically, Recluse really just doesn't want to be hitting like that. But if you're using a grease with the Recluse and you want to like capture a certain affinity, you can do this, experience increased damage, and you also get to capture the specific affinity you want. So still with the Recluse, I would opt for improved sorceries or like some type of improved version of the school of magic you're doing. But if you happen to get a relic that also had improved attack power with grease, like just know that you'll be experiencing a 20% damage amp, which is pretty significant. And if you wanted to stack all 3, 1.54 times. But the major thing on why this is good is that this for some reason disproportionately affects Raider. Raider for whatever reason is just really insane with this, and this does affect every like melee character well, but Raider, because his physical damage and strength is just so high, it scales really well with him. So we're gonna take a look at some weapons and we're gonna like showcase why this is good. Again, this works with every character, but I'm just showing you the higher end of what it can look like. So we're gonna go with something that has a lot of base physical damage. So we're gonna go with the Axe of Godfrey. This is like the highest end of RNG. This is like if you popped a pickled foul foot. Marlo, I'm sorry, but if we're using your feet for increased RNG, we can actually have a higher chance to get the Axe of Godfrey. But a lot of people like the Giza's Wheel, myself included. I'm a Giza Glazer. I'm a Giza Glazer. We gotta popularize that. Giza Glazer. Alright, so we're hitting 155, goes to 177. Now I'm using 3 stacks of the grease. This goes up to 273. We 2x'd our damage. Well, actually, no, this is more than 2x now because we have plus 27. So now we hit, all of a sudden we're hitting for 300 damage. And I will show you guys what this looks like after. But I mean, getting this on a common weapon, by the way, just for using 1 grease, and you experience this for 30 seconds again, you can be extremely aggressive. You're doing that. This will also be, well, it seemed to just now buff the headbutt. So that did, hold on, wait. Actually, I think it does buff the headbutt. So we're at, actually, yeah, let me reset this, right? Headbutt does 99 into 357. Using this, 549. So we also buff the headbutt damage. And I'm assuming that's just gonna extrapolate to your ultimate. Your ultimate will also be buffing your attack, so now it goes to 314. And again, this just came off of using 1 grease. So now we're gonna test this on the higher end. Let's, we're gonna edge our way up. We're gonna goon our way up to Giza's wheel. Actually, no, let's start with the Rotten Great Axe. I think this is a little more common. You can expect this a little more. 217, two-handing, popping a grease. We go to 336, 2 extra damage, pretty much. 347. I'm not using initial standard attack, but I still like to just reset the attacks. Big ticket item, big ticket item. So we're hitting for 263. Oh, imagine this with bleed grease. You might actually just crash the game. So we slap on fire, 407 plus 22. And this would actually just melt a boss. Especially with the bleed grease, right? But now we hit for 428. And then finally, Axe of Godfrey, because all of these damage amps will be stacking. Charge R2 amp he gets now goes to 494. This is before I pop my Ash of War. Ooh, that kind of rhymed. Bars? Okay. Okay. Speaking of, I made a new song, and I'm going to play a snippet. When we combine every single damage amp, I'm actually going to play the song now. That was actually a good window. We always promote ourselves. Be your biggest glazer in life, because if no one else will be your biggest supporter, it's got to be you. Can't face it, got an addiction, broke down, but I won't give up. 320. Charge R2. It goes to 384. Ash of War. Plus 29. Dragon Moon Grease. 594. Oh, we didn't pop ult though. 569. We're gonna get this amp again. Plus 7. 683. All this is very realistic. 751 per R1. This is insane. For 30 seconds, mind you. 30 seconds! It took you 30 seconds to kill the boss! 30 seconds! Not only can we stack the plus 0, plus 1, and plus 2, but as you saw on the higher end, we were able to hit for... We got 7 damage amplifiers, and these are all realistic to hit within the game. Setup you want to have with your relics, so long as it has the... Wait, hold on, the beat's kind of nice here. So long as you have the plus 1, plus 2, and the plus 0, you can literally use whatever else you want to use. You can use, the physical attack up, plus 2, and that'll help. You can do taking attacks improves attack power. That'll also help with the Raider. That'll actually increase his damage even more. And it just gets even better with him specifically. But again, every single character will benefit from this. And if you wanted to have something like improved affinity attack power, whatever that is, that will also boost the damage of your, like, whatever you applied on your thing. So, right, like if you had the Knight of the Lord, you can get even more damage amps from switching your weapon, and then you put the grease on. So now you'll have another 10% boost to your damage. This will, like, if you use this right, especially in like a team comp where another person takes like the boss's aggro, if they take it, you can slap a grease on, and just for those 30 seconds you can do incredible amounts of damage. But before you use a grease, if you're fighting the red bell-bearing hunter, do not be caught lacking, because this will happen to you.
Is this too easy for you?
And yes, this is a snippet from my animation. If you checked it out after this video, I'd greatly appreciate it. Last night, when we were playing, we were in the Rotted Woods. The run was going so well. And then he's playing Recluse. So I'm thinking, oh, it must be another disciple of Ace. And then he actually jumps off the map and he kills himself. And then the run was over.
Times the realists make mistakes.
So looking at this relic setup, we have attack power increase for jail prisoners and also attack power increase for night invaders. So if you saw my last video, I said that you are guaranteed to have at least one Cataclysm per run if you're playing the Deep of the Night mode. So that means that you will receive a 7% boost to your attack for each invader you kill. So this is really helpful because sometimes you will even get 2 Cataclysms. And what that means is that you can get 14% or more on car insurance, or potentially even more stacks if there's more than one invader. So for example, sometimes there might be like 2 invaders and you'll get 14% just off of that like one Cataclysm. So like in an ideal world, you might get 28% boost. And because this is multiplicative, it's actually 1.07 times, not 4, but it's times itself 4 times. So if you stack that with the jail relic, you will be getting a lot of damage. Even if you were to do like 4 jails, that's 21%, meaning that if you killed 4 jail bosses and you killed 4 night invaders, you will get a 1.6 times attack increase, like just across the board in anything you do. So that's really good on its own. But if we also consider this new relic effect, max HP increase for each great enemy defeated at a great church. So if you don't know what a great church is, conveniently, that is where you get a lot of your stone sword keys. If you kill a boss there, you'll get a 5% increase to your health. We can confirm this by looking at the Deep of the Night. Wow. HP for each boss defeated at a great church. We get a 5% increase for each boss killed. Now, this doesn't stack, meaning that if you had 2 of these relics, it's not going to give you 10%. That probably would have broke the game. But at the very least, say you go to 2 additional churches, you get a 10% increase to your health for free just by defeating the boss there. And then you'll also get the stone sword key, ideally, meaning that you can go and kill the jail person to get another increase to your damage. But in an ideal world, what makes this even better is that sometimes these great churches can also be hosts for Cataclysm events. So this means, ideally, you get a Cataclysm for the great church, you kill the invader there, that's a 7% increase to your damage. You kill the boss there, so that's another 5% increase to your health. And you get a stone sword key and you go to the jail and you get another 5% increase. That is so much value for just 3 relic slots. So again, I am not sure, but I think you can roll max HP increase as well as like a Night Invader relic. I mean, even if you can't, you using the jail relic, it's already meta. I don't think much people will contest the fact that it's a really good relic to have. You really just need to have a roll for the Night Invaders as well as a roll for the HP increase at a great church. But combining all these things together, it's really helpful for the Deep of the Night mode because we're not guaranteed to have a shifting earth. So more often than not, you'll be playing a seed that doesn't have a shifting earth on, so you'll have maximum spawns for the jails. I believe there's like 6 jail prisoners that spawn. So, right, you'll hit up 2 to 3 great churches, you'll get 10 to 15% more on your car insurance. Ideally, you'll kill a night invader that spawns there. The jail meta somehow got even better with the addition of these relics. So if you're still using the jail meta, if you are a jail glazer after all this time, consider using these relics to just make what you're doing even better. So another major discovery that I've been working on but needs more testing is that I believe you take gray weapons and you upgrade them, like if you were to get the crater, right? And you make that legendary, it'll do more damage compared to an actual legendary weapon. So taking a look at these screenshots here, I had no relics on whatsoever, and I also had no like passives that was giving me more amplifiers to my damage. So this is completely like as raw as it can get. So with the Wilder, I had 285 on his greatsword when it was made legendary. And now if we're looking at the Knight's greatsword, which is a blue weapon, when I made that into legendary, it went down to 230. And then when I made I believe it was the Ghost Flame Ignition one. I made that into legendary, and that was even lower. It's a bit hard to test because, for one, if the weapon has split damage, it's like harder to quantify how much it's being increased because it's also increasing the split part of the weapon. For example, with the Wilder, it's extremely annoying, and like this is why like I actually need your guys' help, because if we can solve this together as a community, let's go. All great swords are doing some extra shit, like whether it's magic and frost, bleed, holy fire, lightning, yeah we smite. That's a snippet of my new song for the Guardian. Check it out after this video. It's just a little hard to test because there's nothing that's doing pure physical damage. So we need to find like a weapon class or something that is easier to test with this. I had to play runs with no relics at all. If anyone has done that, you guys know that that's difficult. And especially now with the Deep of the Night, I actually don't know how you're gonna do that. I generally don't know how you're gonna do that. If you do that, make a video, tag me, and then I'll react to it because like I'm actually interested. So it's hard to test, but it seemed like common weapons received a higher damage modifier when you upgrade those compared to if you upgrade their higher tier counterparts. If this is true, this would mean that upgrading your gray weapons will do more damage in the long run compared to if you were to pick up a legendary weapon. So it could mean that the new meta that will be hopefully shifting into this will be having your basic weapon have a really good like skill on it, or like a really good Ash of War, and then you just take that and use that for the whole run. If you want to do some testing and like let me know, you could write it out here in the comments, or you can also have it in the Discord, which again is in the description if you guys need help with anything related to Nightreign. This can be huge. Marlo, this can be big. This can be bigger than the both of us. So another relic that has flown with Guardian's big ass wings under everyone's radar has been the Dark Knight of the Fathom. Before this update, this was actually garbage. This was worse than garbage. This might have been slop, right? Because if we look here, increased health by, I think it's like 100 at level 15. You get HP recovery and then slow HP recovery for self when you're low. Like, bro, come on. However, with the new Deep of the Night update, we got a buff to this and we heal 6 HP a second. Now, this is significant. Not only is this nice to have in general, because you also have the increased health, but if you are playing the Deep of the Night mode, if you have any relic at all that is giving you continuous HP loss, such as this one, attack power up when facing Scarlet Rot people, I have continuous health loss. If we were to slap this on with the Knight of the Fathom, we will see that this will completely offset that continuous HP loss. So that means that if you have that really good relic and unfortunately it's just sucking you dry like a hungry stripper, right? It's just sucking you crazy. You can put this relic on and this is gonna offset the damage completely. Look, we're actually going net positive on health. And what's even nicer about this is if you have partial HP restoration, you can help heal yourself even more. Fear not, if you had a really good relic that has continuous HP loss, literally just slap on the Dark Knight of the Fathom and that will completely offset it and you'll actually begin to heal even more. So, like okay, hold on, reset. So like I alluded to earlier with the Guardian, if you use Shield Grease, he will also experience the boost to his damage if he's using the attack up after using grease items. This helps the Guardian shore up his damage even more and just become a better character. Because I don't know if you guys know, but right now he's being widely considered to be one of, if not the best character in the game for Deep of the Night. I had foresight. I knew that the bird, that's why I have Marlo, he told me, he actually whispered to me in my small parrot ear, he told me that the Guardian was going to experience a buff and he was going to be one of the best characters in the game. Thank you, Marlo. We all need to thank Marlo. He was the one who made this possible. Don't thank me. Don't thank Miyazaki. Don't thank the director of the game. Thank Marlo right here. He was the one, he was the real bird that allowed us to receive an attack amp and make Guardian actually become a real character. If we're looking at a Guardian setup where he's using physical attack amps after using greases, hold on, wait, let me just save this one. All right, we have +2 +1, I got a really good roll on this one because we also have improved strength and dexterity, which if you don't know, this is arguably his best relic that is like a no-brainer in terms of you slotting this on. You don't need to, but it helps so much with this damage. So it improves his strength and dexterity and reduces his health. You might think that's bad until we look at it's decreasing it by 8. You're only losing 100 and what is this? You're losing 160 HP. Dang it, hold on. You'll have to trust me on this one. I can't like really scroll over. It's this row though. So you're losing 160 health, but you get a 20% increase to damage for heavy thrusting swords. That's just an example. And you get a 16% attack power increase for halberds. So that's gonna help to shore up his damage a lot, and you're only losing 160 health, which if you're using the Dark Knight of the Fathom, you'll actually get some of that back. You'll get, I believe, 100 of that back, if I'm not mistaken. So this is gonna help to improve his damage a lot, and I think this is a no-brainer if you're running the Guardian. We're gonna get this. Just watch this. And watch and listen as you're hearing Guardian's anthem playing in the background. This is my song that I wrote. And I would appreciate it if you guys were to check it out after this video. I don't know of anyone who made a song about Nightreign yet, so this is, I believe, the first anthem we have for a character. Alright, so we're looking at 119 damage on the board. We apply Fire Grease. We go to 183 plus 21. We almost 2x our damage again. We're hitting for 204. But most importantly, most fervently, Guardian, he has something else to share with us. He says, in his own bird words, which was whispered to me from his envoy, Marlo, he has told me personally that if you were to use shield grease, you will also get this damage in. Behold, everyone, we have gotten more damage for becoming tankier. Not only are we increasing our shield stability, but we're also increasing our damage at the same time. Marlo, I don't know how you did it. I don't know what you told Ichizaki in his ear through bird mail, but Guardian like really benefits off of this as well. You might be thinking that it would stack together. Unfortunately, it does not. We have 183 damage. If we were to use that and shield grease, it's not going to stack. If it did, I think it actually would have broke the game. But it's going to be boosting his ultimate damage. And as you know, if you read the patch notes, you know the Guardian has gotten a buff to his Steel Guard as well. Overall, Guardian mains are eating great tonight. And how great is it to know that you now have a national anthem that you can play whenever you're using the Guardian. So please, if you are playing the Guardian, or if you have like a really cool clip, use the audio from my song and then have it just match up with like the most hype part of the video. Because I think this goes really well with like a lot of cool and hype moments in Nightreign. If you make a video with the audio, I'll watch and react to it. I'll repost it. I can even have like a long video of me reacting to the people who's, you know, had their most hype plays using the song. It could be with the bird, it could be with the raider. I don't care. I just want to, you know, have some fun. Like Ellie just want to have fun. Speaking of, if you guys want to see a tier list for the Deep of the Night mode, please let me know. Subscribe if you guys found anything helpful in this video, as well as hearing new songs, new releases, new animations. Check out my new animation on the Red Bell-Bearing Hunter. I have them linked here. Be great. Be who you want to be in this lifetime. Marlo told me to tell you that.